Hi, this is Dave and welcome to the Table, a series of videos where I review and discuss various board and card games looking at them from a family perspective. Today we're going to be taking a look at King of New York from Iello Games. Now this is the follow-up sequel to the game King of Tokyo, and this is a 2 to 6 player dice-driven board game in which you take on the role of a monster vying to be the King of New York. And you're going to be doing this by fighting other monsters and smashing up the city in an attempt to win. Now in this particular video I'm going to go over how to play the game King of New York. If you're familiar with King of Tokyo, it plays very, very similarly, and if you want to know the differences, I will have a separate video which will be entitled King of Tokyo versus King of New York. Anyways, let's take a look at King of New York, how it's set up and how it's played, and I'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, let's take a look at the components that come in New York, and the first thing that you see here is the game board here, and this is a map of New York City with the 5 different boroughs here. We have Manhattan, Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. And we have 6 new monsters that are going to be joining this series of games here. We've got Kong and Sheriff and Mantis, Draconis, Rob, and Captain Fish. In this game we're also going to get 8 dice, these nice big chunky dice here. There'll be 6 of them that are black and 2 of them that are green. I'll cover that in the gameplay explanation. We have a deck of cards here that are upgrades and abilities and different events that can happen through the game. And they introduce a couple of new goal cards here, the Superstar and Statue of Liberty, which I will get to in the gameplay as well. We also have our energy cubes and our tokens up at the top here. And then on the board here, I already have this game partially set up, is going to be these building and unit tiles. And they're double-sided, and I'll cover that in the gameplay as well. So these are the components for King of New York. Let me get the game set up and I'll show you how to play. Okay, to set up King of New York, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to place the game board in the center of the table, and you're going to take these blue building tiles and you're going to shuffle them up, and you're going to divide them up into piles of 3. So if you look here, I've got 3 tiles. And then once they are placed into piles of 3, we're going to place 3 stacks in each of the boroughs here. So they're divided equally among the game board. Next we're going to take our cards over here and we're going to shuffle them up, and we're going to deal the top 3 cards off of the deck. And we're going to place these out, and these will be available for purchase. Now, if you're not familiar with King of Tokyo, then let me give you a breakdown of these cards here. And there's 2 different types of cards here. There are going to be ones that say keep and ones that say discard. Up at the top of the card is going to be a cost, and this is going to cost you in energy, which I'll get to in a little bit. And the 2 types of cards, if you buy a keep card, you're going to place this in front of you, and you'll be able to either have an ongoing effect or you'll be able to use it later on. And then this discard here is, as soon as you buy it, you're going to discard this card and you are going to be able to resolve that effect immediately. Now, something new for King of New York are going to be these goal cards here. For example, we have the Statue of Liberty and Superstar, and you can gain these by rolling a specific die combination. For example, here the Statue of Liberty, if you roll at least 3 of the ouch symbols on the die, you'll be able to gain this card. But if somebody else at the end of their die rolling, if they have this combination, they'll be able to steal it from you. And the same thing with this Superstar here. And these grant some really, really cool effects. I have placed the 6 die here on the table, and let me go over the die faces here to show you what they mean. And again, if you're familiar with King of Tokyo, some of the die faces are going to be familiar, but if you're not familiar with either of the games, let me explain them quickly. On the die face here, if you see this energy sign, this will allow you to gain energy cubes. If you see this heart symbol here, this will allow your monster to heal as long as you're occupying one of the boroughs outside of Manhattan. If you are in Manhattan, you're not allowed to heal. This is a new one here. This star stands for celebrity, and this will allow you to gain specific effects. We have this smashed up building here, and this is going to be a destruction side here, and this is going to allow you to inflict damage on these different buildings, or later on they become units. We also have this skull here, which stands for ouch, and this is going to be a negative thing for you, because this is going to be how your monster can potentially take damage when you are outside of Manhattan. And then the last one here we have is this claw here, and this is going to be dealing damage. If you are one of the monsters outside of Manhattan, you will be inflicting damage on the monster that's in Manhattan. And if you are the monster that's in Manhattan, you will be dealing damage to all of the other monsters on the outside. That's what the die faces are. And then we have two additional die here that are this lighter green that are placed off to the side, and they will be gained through specific card abilities later on. And we have these energy cubes placed off to the side and various tokens up at the top, which are used for certain card abilities. To determine who the first player is, each player will roll all 6 die, and whoever has the greatest number of claws on one die roll will be the first player. For the sake of this demo, I have the player order set off to the side here. Mantis will be 1, then Kong, then Captain Fish, and then Draconis. So the first player, what they will do is they will be able to place their monster standee on any of the boroughs outside of Manhattan. So we'll start him off in Bronx. Now the second player, Kong, here will do the same thing. Now they can start off in the same borough if they want to, but there can't be more than 2 in any borough during the course of the game. So we'll put Kong here in Queens. Maybe we'll put Captain Fish in Queens here, and Draconis will start off down in Staten Island. Okay, once all the players have placed their monster standees in the boroughs that they selected to start with, they're going to take their monster boards and they're going to take the victory point level, which is the star, place it to 0, and their life total, which is the hearts, and place it at 10. Mantis is going to be the first player, and he's going to take the 6 black dice, and he's going to roll them, and he's going to do this kind of Yahtzee style, where he can keep certain die faces intact, and he can re-roll other ones two different times. So he's a total of 3 rolls. So we're going to do a couple things here. We are going to roll the die here, and we have 2 celebrity, 1 claw, 1 ouch, 1 destruction, and 1 energy cube. And so these different things are going to allow me to do different things if I choose to keep them. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to re-roll 4 dice. I'm going to keep these 2 celebrity, and going to keep this 1 energy cube here and re-roll 1 more time, hoping to have another start, which I did. Okay, so now I'm going to resolve these die faces. First of all, these lightning bolts here, I'm going to gain 2 energy cubes, so Mantis will get 2 energy cubes placed in front of him. And this celebrity thing is new here, and the celebrity, this only can be activated if you roll 3 stars. So what's going to happen now is that if you roll the 3 stars, you're going to take this superstar goal here, and I will gain a victory point for getting this, and I'll gain 1 additional victory point if I had rolled more than 3 stars. And then while I have this, I'll gain 1 victory point for each star that I keep. So it's kind of a different way to gain victory points. So right now, Mantis is the superstar. She's going to gain a victory point for getting it. Now, that card is not always his. It can be taken away from him as soon as another player at the end of their 3 die rolls has the 3 stars there. They'll be able to take the superstar goal. So that's something that's new in King of New York. So we've resolved these die faces. Now we can move. Now since he's the first player and nobody's occupying Manhattan, he has to go into Manhattan. If there was already a monster in Manhattan, he would be able to move to another borough if he wanted to. So, but there was no creature inside Manhattan, so he's got to move in. And right here on the board it denotes that when you move into Manhattan, you're going to gain a victory point. Now, one thing to note that when you are occupying Manhattan, when you roll the claw symbol, you'll be able to damage all of the monsters on the outside, but the disadvantage is that you won't be able to heal, and it notes it right on the board here that you cannot heal as long as you're in Manhattan. So we've got that going on. Now, one of the other things here that we had on this die face here was this this ouch symbol, and the number of ouches that you have at the end of your die roll is going to affect what's going to happen when you as a monster are attacked in the boroughs. So right now all we have are buildings here, so that's not going to affect him, but you later on in the game you can damage these buildings and they flip over and they become units, and then they would be able to attack you. So let's take another player's turn here. We'll go with Draconis. That's his turn here now. And what we're going to do is we will roll dice here. And we will keep this one destruction here. And we'll re-roll some of those things there. We'll keep those 3 claws, 4 claws, and a destruction here. So what's going to happen on Draconis' turn here, we have a couple different things. We have, he's going to deal 4 damage to Mantis because he's in the city there. So Mantis' life is going to go down to 6. And now I have 2 destruction points here, and on these different tiles here, they have a durability here, which is how many destruction points it takes to destroy it, and what the reward is. So if we look here, this particular skyscraper has a durability of 2 and is going to award 2 victory points. So we are going to go ahead and use those 2 to destroy this to gain 2 victory points. Once we destroy this side of the building, it gets flipped over and it now becomes a unit. And so this one here is a jet fighter, has a durability of 3, and if we destroy this, we will gain 2 energy cubes. When you defeat a unit, you just take the tile and you place it in front of you, kind of as a trophy. So right now we've done that, and Draconis will gain 2 victory points. If he wants to now, he can choose to move, and Mantis also has the opportunity to yield and leave Manhattan if he wanted to. But Mantis is going to be tough. He's going to stay in. And Draconis is going to, he's going to decide to go over to Brooklyn, so he can move if he wants to. The last thing that he would be able to do, and I missed it on Mantis's turn, is if he has any energy cubes in front of them, he can choose to purchase any of these 3 cards that are available here, or he can spend 2 energy cubes to essentially wipe these 3 out and deal 3 new cards. And that's going to be the end of his turn. And this is going to go around until one of the players has either 20 victory points or is the last one standing. Now, I specifically now want to talk about a couple things that are special in King of New York that's different from King of Tokyo, for those of you who are familiar with the game. The longer that you stay in Manhattan, the more lucrative it is for you, because the longer you stay in, the more benefits that you're going to have. So let's assume that we make it back to Mantis's turn. On his turn, for being in Lower Manhattan, he's going to gain 1 victory point and 1 energy cube just for being in there. And then if he survives that, as long as he wants to, he's going to move up into Midtown. If he stays in there through that turn without dying, he'll gain 2 victory points and 1 energy cube. And then finally he'll make his way up into Upper Manhattan, where he would earn 2 victory points and 2 energy cubes. And all the while he cannot heal. So it makes it it makes it a little risky, but the reward is great for staying in Manhattan. So the longer you stay in here, the more lucrative it is. Now the other thing is, now we saw Draconis had damaged this one building over here, and it became a unit. Well, now what's going to happen is these little ouches here are going to start coming into play. So for example, if Draconis was in Staten Island and his die roll ended up this way, he happens to have one of the ouches there. What's going to happen on the result of one ouch is that the units in your burrow attack you, and you take 1 damage per unit tile in your burrow. Well, right now there's 1 unit, so he's going to take 1 damage. So if there's a couple more of these exposed, you're going to take 1 for each one. So early on in the game, it's not so bad, but later on, it can be really, really bad. If you were to end your die with 2 of the ouches, what's going to happen is the units in the burrow are going to attack all the monsters in your burrow, including you. So, for example, if Captain Fish was over here in Staten Island and we had this come around, both Draconis and Captain Fish are going to take 1 damage. And then finally, if you roll 3 of these skulls, what's going to happen is that all the units in the entire city are going to attack each monster. So they're going to take 1 damage for each unit tile in their burrow. So what's going to happen is it's going to be bad for everybody. But what's going to happen is if you roll those 3, all of a sudden you're going to reach this goal of the Statue of Liberty, and this card is, you're going to gain this one, and the Statue of Liberty is essentially going to come to the aid of the city, and it's going to help you out in your destruction path. You're going to gain 3 victory points when you take this card, and as long as you hold on to it, you're fine. It's going to give you that victory point boost, but if somebody else rolls this, you're going to lose 3 victory points. So it's kind of a temporary boost of power, but you will gain this when you get the 3 ouches. So again, that's the premise of this game. You're going to be moving around the city. You can damage the buildings on the outside. If you're inside of Manhattan, you're going to be fighting off all the other monsters, trying to stay alive and get those victory points. And that's how you play King of New York. Alright, King of New York, and what a fun game. And hats off to Richard Garfield for a great follow-up to a very successful King of Tokyo game. And if you like King of Tokyo, you're going to love King of New York, because this is a better game. It's much more refined and improved over the original release. And starting off with the game board itself. And if we look at the game, you know, we've got better artwork on here. You've got all of New York City. And with that larger game board comes more options for this game, because now you have the boroughs that are outside of Manhattan, and so the monsters can move around from place to place, and now you have the buildings and unit tiles that are out there. So now you have an option to damage the city. So it's not just trying to fight the other monster, but you're really trying to damage the city. So it kind of gives you more of that monsters coming in and fighting all over that, and you have the options just to go in there. If you want to get mad and you're getting riled up, go and smash up the city and smash up some units. Now, the cool thing is with that is as you damage the city, now you have the game trying to attack back at you. So if you have unfortunate die rolls, you're going to have any units that are coming to the city's aid are going to attack you and deal damage. So now you have 2 different ways that you're going to, or actually now you'll have 3 ways of which you can receive damage. Number 1 is from the monster who's inside of Manhattan fighting and damaging everybody else. 2 is going to be the various cards in the game that can be bought and played that will inflict damage on other players. And now 3rd is through the city defending itself. So there's now 3 ways of which your monster can take damage. So you're going to have to think about that if you decide to go and start smashing up the city. Now, one of the cool things is you can smash up the city and then you can move to another borough, and so if somebody else moves in there or something like that, it's like, you know, eventually you can almost set like little traps around. And so that's kind of one of the cool things that you can do. You can go and smash up some buildings, make some victory points, and then move to another borough. So I like that as an additional element. Now, another cool thing is that in this game, and that's a major improvement over King of Tokyo, is if you happen to be the monster who's inside of Manhattan, the longer that you stay in there, the greater the reward. Now, you know, the risk is that when you're inside Manhattan, you cannot heal, but you're gaining rewards. And the longer that you stay in there, as you progress through Manhattan, from lower Manhattan to Midtown to upper Manhattan, you're going to gain greater rewards. You're going to be gaining more victory points and more energy cubes, and so that's going to help you along the way. Opposed to the original in King of Tokyo, if you managed to survive, you gained a victory point and you moved on. With the greater reward, it makes it worth more of the risk, and it makes it worth fighting to be the king. So it adds to the theme of the game. And so overall, you know, now give you a reason to stay in there and try and get those victory points. Now you can still retreat out, and if you do, you know, when you decide to fight your way back into Manhattan, you have to start at lower Manhattan and you move your way up. So you don't just go back where you left off. You have to work your way up to be the king. Another thing that's in this game that I like is that now you have goal cards that are in there. So it gives you a couple more options to resolve your die rolls. And so now you have this new celebrity mechanic where you can become the superstar. And if you get it, that's really cool. But now you're going to specifically start rolling your die to try and get stars. Well, if you're doing that, you're going to be not going after maybe ways to heal or gaining more energy cubes or destroying the city or inflicting damage on the monster that's inside of Manhattan. So you have another way that you can try to gain victory points, and it's cool that if you get it, just because you're the first one to get it doesn't mean that you always have it, because it can be taken away from you. And the same thing with the Statue of Liberty, as the Statue of Liberty basically comes to life and joins you in smashing up the city. So so you've got a couple of cool things that are in there to give you more choices to resolve your die roll. So you've got a lot more options, a lot more cool things to do in this game. So there's just a lot more substance in King of New York. Now, one of the very cool things is that you can take all of the monsters from King of Tokyo and its expansions and all those promo figures, and you can use them in King of New York. So they're not just going to sit in the box. One of the things that I do hope that they do with this is that they will do like the power-up expansion for King of Tokyo and get the evolution cards for these guys here. I personally liked that for the original game. Kind of helped give the characters like a little more, brought them to life, and not being so much just a, you know, just a vanilla character that's on the game board. So I'm kind of hoping that they do that. So overall for me though, this is an awesome game, and I hate to say this because I really like King of Tokyo, but King of New York is a better game, and if I had the choice to play two, I'm going to pick King of New York every time. It's just way better game. So this is a replacement for King of New York. Right now, with this one being so well, if you don't have King of Tokyo, you can pick it up to get all the additional creatures and have an extra set of dice and stuff like that. But to me, this is a better game. So I just really recommend this. Again, this from a family perspective, this game it plays quickly, it's easy to teach, it's lots of family fun. Everybody loves to roll dice, so you're going to get everybody together. There's more substance in this game, so it's not just a simple kids game. There's a little bit more to it, but you just have to be aware that this is luck-based, and so you're going to be at the mercy of die rolls. But overall, it's King of New York, just a great game. Definitely, you should add this one to your library. Alright, that's it for now, and join me again next time as we take a look at another game and we see how it makes it to the table.